Well, we're back in the garage now and we're going to rebuild or reassemble what we've taken apart to try and cure this oil leak. So let's get on with it. Gasket's now on and I've cleaned all the faces and I've put some sealant really just in the areas to keep it in place. As some say, sealant isn't necessary, but it says I can put sealer at the back by the water pump mount. So sealer can go round here, around this area and around here. So that's now firmly in place. And then we'll put the cover on. So this is the bit I was most interested in once the cam cover was on, because I wanted to see if there was any movement in this. And there doesn't seem to be, so should be okay. I just think that the only reason I had the problem with the oil leak was simply because the cam cover gasket, or the cam cover, had been off a couple of times, and I think that it's been used, the gasket has been reused, so I think that's why there was an issue. So anyway, at least I know this has got the mod on it, and that stops the timing chain jumping. So we'll got the gasket on, so we'll just pop the cover back on and then do it up. Right, there we go, that's the cover back on, and look how good that looks. She's looking good. Right, so the radiator cooling fan is a bit grubby, so I've just given it a bit of a clean off. I'm going to wipe it and then it'll be ready to mount to the radiator, which I've got here. And then we'll check that over. Right, so that's the cooling fan positioned. So I'm just going to tighten this up. Okay. Right, so I bought a new hose for this one because it's looking a bit sad and I didn't want to trust it after all this work. So I'll stick that on and then we'll be ready to put it back on. Right, that's off. That was a bitch to get off. Those clips are horrible. But that's all we've got. So anyway. New one. That's the part number if you want it. So let's put it on. Okay, so hose is on. They come with these clips and this funny thing which you just pull off or tilt and it unclips. So anyway, that's the radiator. It looks a lot different to what it did. So let's hope it's all okay. This is the old hose. As you can see, it looks a bit like it's 10 years old or even 11 years old now. Anyway, let's do it. Oh yeah, so I've just had a quick look at this outlet from the head for the radiator and it was quite corroded. So I'm going to have a little bit of a clean up. I've just rubbed it round with some sandpaper, so hopefully that'll be all right. We'll just get a wire brush around there to finalise. So the cover is back on. I'm just going to put the breather pipe on. But the light's beginning to fade here. But anyway, plug caps are on, sorry, coils are in. Coils are in and connected, so it's just the breather pipe to go on now. Alright, so we've got this cover now, this goes on, and this, I don't really know what this does. I guess it just protects all the plug tops, coil packs rather. Goes on top of there and mounts on this thing here. So I'm going to try and get that on. Yeah, so just as I thought, I knew that would be fiddly to get in, but it goes on top there. So anyway, it's in place. Right, so I think the rad is going to be next. Okay, so the radiator is in. That's quite fiddly. It's still not completed. I've got a new O-ring for that, which I've put on. I had to move the hose that was in here round and across the top. And I've just located the radiator onto its mounts. So that just needs the washers and the clips to go on. And then we'll put, that's a hose that I've got to put a clip on. And then we've got the hose on here to go on, which is almost going on itself. And then a bit of wiring. This hose has got to go in, then it will go into that clamp. And then the radiator is actually in. And then we're good to fill. It's in. That was a mission. These two, these things here, they were a nightmare. Anyway, maybe I can see them better now. Anyway, got them in, they're all right. Plugs in, just need to cable tie that. New bottom hose is on, that's all good. What have we got on the other side? Ooh, it's all an effort at my age doing this. Anyway, yeah, so pump housing on, hose on, and the hose that goes to the other side is on. My finger. Yep, so that's on. Right, that's it. Right, well here we go again after putting it all back together and finding that the leak was still coming from here. I've now filed the guide down as I've been advised to do because it sits too high with the anti-jump mod fitted, and now it's a lot lower. So I'll show you before and after. Meanwhile, we'll crack on and put it back together. Morning everyone. Oh, this has been the bane of my life over the last couple of days, weeks, months. Anyway, finally I've managed to sort the problem out with the oil leak, and basically I have shaved off a couple of mil off the top of the cam chain guide, which because of the mod sticks up more towards the cam cover gasket. Which looks like it is actually pushing it up. So anyway, I've done that. And it's all back together. I've had it apart twice now really, so I've not done too bad. Anyway, so it's all back together now, rad's on, I've run it up, I've bled the system with a vacuum. And the knack to that is, although it's just a vacuum gauge, the best way to deal with it is you need to clamp the outlet from the top of the radiator and the outlet from the expansion tank at the back. Otherwise you can't get vacuum, and I thought it was the tool, if I'm honest. I just did a bit more investigation, and yeah, today it took me 5 minutes to do it and a couple of running up sessions, and everything was fine. But actually, yeah, all is good and seems to be working, and the radiator is getting air through all of it after all the debacle of cleaning it, which was absolutely worth it. There was no way I was going to spend £500 unless I absolutely had to. So so far everything seems to be good, and on idle, just poking its head outside the shed, it will go down to 4 bars without the fan on. So I'm confident that when we ride it, it will actually be down to maybe 3 bars all the time. So just got to put the fairing and everything back on it now, and then it'll be ready to ride. Success in the end, it pays off if you just persevere. Thanks for watching.